So welcome to our 6th grade band concert for the beginning of the year. This is actually our second group to play tonight. I am Mrs. Bloom. I am one of the 5th and 6th grade band teacher, and Mrs. Brilliant, my awesome colleague, is the other one. We actually get to teach together. There's only one class we don't teach together, so it's pretty awesome that we get to have that experience and have the students have that experience. So we are going to start with a couple of informants songs, meaning they're going to tell you what they've been learning this year, and then we'll do 2 songs as a performance for you. And I will hand it over to Mrs. Craven.
The first song we're going to play is called Hey Ho Nobody's Home, and it utilizes all 8 notes that this group knows how to play. Well, if they've been paying attention in class, they know 8 notes. Some know quite a few more because they've looked ahead in their book, and that's wonderful. Another thing that this line in our book has taught us is something called dynamics. And dynamics are when we play loudly and softly. In music terminology, that's forte and piano. So hopefully this group can demonstrate that for you tonight. Here is Hey Ho, Nobody's Home. Our next song is going to be a little bit more familiar to you. It is called Frere Jacques. And what makes this song unique is that it is also performed in a round. So we'll play it for you straight through, just so you get the tune back in your ears and bring you back to when you were in elementary school learning how to do this musical concept. And then we're going to play it for you in a round. So if you don't remember, a round is when you play the same thing, but you start at different times. So you can have 2 groups that play, you can have 3, 4, as many as you'd like. We're going to do 2 groups tonight. They play the same thing, but they start at different times. And what that does is it creates a harmony, which is very challenging for young players such as these, because they kind of have to tunnel vision themselves and not listen to those around them, which is very hard for them to do when they've learned how to play everything all together, all at once. So it's been an interesting journey with them. But we sound great. I'm really excited to share Frere Jacques with you. So we're going to play it twice. Here's Frere Jacques. So as Mrs. Bloom said, this is kind of an informants. And what that means is we get to share with you a little bit about what it is that we do every day and kind of explain it in a different way. So this group has a lot of different instruments that come together to play all together. Each instrument sounds different, each instrument is played differently, each instrument reads different notes. It's all different. So we'd like to showcase a couple of our players and those instruments that they play. So first we're going to go down the journey of the woodwind family, starting with the highest pitched instrument, and that is the flute, demonstrated by Tatum. And then we have the clarinet, which will be demonstrated by Cora. Then we have the alto saxophone, which was a new choice that these students had for 6th grade, and that is demonstrated by Kim. Thank you, Kim, great job. Next, we have the bass clarinet, which will be played by Piper. Piper's going to stay sitting down because the bass clarinet is very hard to play while standing. She's in the back over there. Go ahead, Piper. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, we have the tenor saxophone, which will be demonstrated by Alexander. And that is the woodwind family. Next, we'll have Mrs. Bloom that will conduct a couple more lines from our book.
Thank you. So our next short piece out of our book that we're going to play you is called Jasmine Flower. And they didn't learn any new notes on it, but they learned a new concept called a pickup note, meaning instead of starting the song on count 1 at the beginning, it might start on a different count, and you have to figure out which count that is. So here's Jasmine Flower. Playing that are short little pieces, they are in our method book where we learn our different concepts and notes and things, and we just wanted to show you some of them that we're learning. So our next one is actually one they learned a long time ago. Some of them learned it last year, but we took a vote on which fun, easy one they wanted to play. So we're going to play Technique Builder. Many of them learned this last year. However, For those of you that don't know, we actually have a mix of beginners and second-year students on our stage. So our beginners have really had to step up to catch up with where we are. So, and our returning members have been awesome at being great leaders. So let's give them a round of applause for that. All right, so we are going to play Technique Builder, which is exactly what it says. This is one of our lines where we learn to build different techniques. Demonstrations for you tonight. We've heard from our woodwind family, so next we are going to hear from our brass and percussion family. So the first instrument that is going to play, this was one of their choices in 5th grade as well, is trumpet, and Brady is going to play something on trumpet for us to show us what it sounds like. Our low brass, we have trombone, and on trombone, which is fun to play because they get to do cool stuff with their slides sometimes, Austin is going to play for us. He's going to sing. And similar sounding to trombone, same range, different style of instrument, played with valves like the trumpet, but low like the trombone, is baritone, and Thomas is going to play a baritone for us. Brass instrument that we are going to have demonstrated is the tuba. I just want to recognize, so we actually usually have a different tuba player who's really awesome too, but he got sick and was upset about it, so we were sad. However, our tuba player from our first band agreed to stay and play with us again, so thank you, Cole. So Cole's going to play something on tuba for us.
Like when yes.
Since I'm up my brain and I don't want to forget, we have 2 groups of 6th graders that played tonight. And I think Mr. Thayer's in here somewhere, but he stayed to help with both groups. So thank you, Mr. Thayer, wherever you're sitting. I don't want to forget to thank you. So let's thank you. All right, and we also have our percussion section. So first, Leighton is going to play a little something on bells for us. And then the rest of our percussion section is going to play a pattern for you guys. So we'll have them start that. We have bass drum, snare drum, and cymbal who are playing the pattern with us today. Full-time percussion. They had to actually to play full and part-time. They all had to audition. We chose those that were really focused and could keep good time to be our full-time percussionists, and then we also had students who did a great job but still wanted to stick with their wind instrument. So you'll see different people go back there, and then at our last concert that we do in May, you'll see different people because not everyone who did awesome at percussions has a part on this one. So we actually have more percussionists than what you see that know how to do it, but the ones you see tonight going back, they all had to audition to be on drums. So good job, you guys. All right, so up next, we're gonna move to our performance section of the concert. We have 2 songs for you that we've been working on, and I will let Mrs. Brigham talk about the first one.
The first song we're going to play for you is called Bringer of War. Some of you might recognize it as it is a little bit of an homage to a very famous orchestral piece called The Planets by Gustav Holst. And this is very similar to his rendition of Mars, who in mythology is the bringer of war. So you'll recognize that in what's called the ostinata, which is a repetitive rhythm that you will very readily hear. But there's also a melody that's played underneath it or on top of it, depending on where the range is. It weaves throughout the whole band. What makes playing something like this very challenging is not everybody plays the same thing, and they have to really make sure they're counting. They have to count rests, they have to count through their notes to make sure they know exactly where they are in the song. They're looking at their music, they're looking up at me, they're looking at their music, back up at me. It's a lot of things, a lot of multitasking. This is the first song that we really learned where they had to do this. And it's very exciting to get to share that with you. So this is Bringer of War.
basa gitu. Nanawala ka yung kita ko. Tila wala pa niya doon.
That one was really fun to learn. A lot of different parts going on. So we have one more song for you tonight. Know it pretty quickly. This is actually the second half of our concert. So our last song that we're going to play for you is going to feature all the different sections at different times. So this song is called Old MacDonald's Band instead of Old MacDonald's Farm. And as you can imagine, instead of animals, it's going to be instruments. And instead of the sound the animals make, right? Instead of pointing and clucking and mooing, we are going to hear what each instrument section sounds like when it's their turn to show us. And then you'll hear the repeated Old MacDonald's Farm, and then you'll hear each instrument demonstrated for you. We thank you all very much for coming. We love doing concerts. It always seems like we work and work and work, and then 20 minutes later, it's all over. So, but it's been a lot of fun. For those of you that don't know, up on stage here, besides just beginners and second year students, we also have 2 different classes on stage. So our students come to us in groups. For those of you that know what pods are for your student, they come to us in groups of their pod and then of their 3 teachers. And then for the concert, we combine 2 of them together so that we could get enough instrumentations, like we only have 1 tuba or 1 tenor sax, so that we could combine them together and to create a great sound for you guys. So there's actually 2 different band classes on stage. They practiced all the songs in class together, and then they had 2 band classes to put it together and hear what each other sounds like. So they did pretty awesome for only having 2 classes at the same time. So good job, you guys. Hopefully that means that they listened well when we were telling them exactly the same way in class. So here's our last song for you tonight. When we are finished, students already have this information, but we are finished in here for the night, and so we were asking students to help us stack the chairs and stands, but we want them to put their instruments away first because we don't want them ruined. So they'll do that, and then help us do chairs and stands, and then you can take them home with you. Okay? Thank you. Old MacDonald's Band.
Should I tell that?